opportunity that everybody else was going to beat themselves up in the conference throughout the rest of the year. And, if we had taken one, maybe two in that beginning series, and then didn't drop one to Tulsa, and then, we had the Sunday game against Wichita State, which we didn't play our best softball that day. So, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd be in a different story right now. But the top three teams in our conference are pretty good, and there's not much that separates them except who shows up that day. And in college athletics, as you well know, 18 to 20 years old, you got to make sure that your best team shows up that day. And, hopefully that occurs this weekend. But I think we're in a pretty good situation right now coming in here. We're feeling pretty good about what's happened. We're getting some pretty good pitching and good defense. And right now it looks like the hitting is finally getting to its best place of the year.
Obviously the pitching, I got to bring it up. I just saw the story, George getting pitcher of the year for the 4th straight year. Somewhere along the line, did you go to her and say, we might be throwing you every single inning the rest of the way, or did it just sort of unfold?
Well, she's pretty selfish by winning all these awards every week and every year. And, she's a competitor, and there's some games that in actuality, I'll go out and kind of tell her like, okay, it's time to take a break. And she'll say, no, that's not happening. I'm like, okay. So, we've got a pretty trusting relationship right now. And, she's gotten herself in such physical condition over the last year and a half, 2 years. And she's mentally strong that, she's willing to take the ball for her team, and she wants the ball. So it's not really a hard situation for that to occur. And I've only had about 4 pitchers in my entire career, both the United States national team and USF, that have that type of mentality and that inner competitor that just not going to be beat. So it's pretty special.
I'll hand it over. I have family over and barking dogs right now.
Coach Jill Jelnick, I watched you guys at practice today. Glad you guys were able to make it in safely and get all your bags and luggage.
How you doing, Jill?
Good. Looking.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can keep the rain away from the Greenville tomorrow. We'll see. That's that's the sport.
Yeah, Mother Nature is still undefeated, so whatever happens. That's the way it goes.
Exactly. I have 2 follow-up questions to kind of what you just mentioned. One, you said you feel like your offense is hitting the best they've hit this season. Why?
Yeah, I think they're getting comfortable with who they are. They're not trying to do too much. And, once you start to realize that you have body awareness and strike zone awareness, and that the pitching that you face as you get down towards this time of year and further on down the road is pretty good, that you can't really go at the plate and be, all out and going for big swings and this and that. It's really about getting the barrel to the ball and getting people on, moving people over and scoring them. And I think once you realize your identity and accept the fact that those put W's on the board, nobody's going to remember your batting average, 10 years down the line, but they're going to remember that you went to the NCAA tournament and you won championships. So once you start to realize that and mature that as a team, as a unit, I think you got a good opportunity. And I think that, we've seen every pitcher style, from A to Z this year on the schedule that we played. And I think we're starting to feel like, okay, there's nothing we haven't seen yet, Jill. And so when you played, you realized that confidence factor, the unknown is not there anymore. The known is now in your hands and your grasp. So I think that has a tendency to make you relax a little bit more and understand the situations at hand.
Yes, absolutely. And one more last question. You mentioned the opening series against UCF. You guys come in here, the number 3 seed in the tournament. Do you sense that there's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder of this team? You mentioned how the parity, the top 3 teams in this conference are so good, but do you sense a little bit more of a something improved this week?
Every time we take the field, I think that the mentality of this program and the mentality of our team is, and it's a really good question, but of course, at the end of the day, when you have a win against certain teams, you feel like you have an advantage of it. But if you play against the game itself, and that's the way we teach, and that's the way our players play, it's almost like the other team has no faces or no uniforms, and people make a big deal outside of our team of that war on I-4 deal, right? Okay, it's still a game that we play. We like them. I mean, they're nice people, right? And I get along with the coaching staff and everything. We've known each other professionally, but our team competes against UCF as just as well as they compete against Memphis and Tulsa and Fairfield and Michigan and Florida. So it's not really about putting so much emphasis on one particular game. It's trying to get past the team you're playing to get to the next one. And I think that's a pretty good championship mentality. I'm not getting too high, not getting too low in certain games.
Thank you, Coach. See you tomorrow.
You got it, pal.
Coach, good to talk to you again. Good to
Oh,
see you doing good.
geez.
I know.
Lou, what do you do? You got nothing else to do today?
No, just talking to you. Just talking to you and
Okay.
everybody
All right.
else, and asking you about some of your players like Georgina, who obviously continues to marvel. I want to ask you this as an alum. We've talked about her, what she's done on the field. Her accomplishment speaks for itself. But I've noticed she transcends softball for that. I've seen USF fans that maybe aren't softball fans that have followed your program because of her, and her being an ambassador to your program. She's done so many media availabilities. As someone who bleeds that school colors and is an alum yourself, speak to her and what she means to this university, because I got to believe she's at the top of the list of among not only the greatest athletes ever, but among the great people in the university, a representation of the school.
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you talk. I can't really put another accolade on or give it more color than what you just did. And for me, it's prideful that she's never put herself above her teammates. She's the consummate team person. They all get along. They're always on equal footing on our team, and you see that when they all help each other out. There's not one person in this program this year that cares who gets the credit, and she's the epitome of that. If she cared who get the credit, we'd be in trouble. And so if you don't care who gets the credit, we all have an opportunity to be successful. And that to me is probably that comes from John and Sally, her parents, and if you take a look at the majority of the players on our team, if not every one of them, the apples don't fall too far from the tree. We're very fortunate that we have families that are incredible, this year. It's unbelievable. And like I said, if you're going to get a recipe of recruiting for championships, you're trying to get a recipe of great people that play softball, right? And from 1 to 28, 29, 30 in our team this year, and the 22 that are here, I mean, their tree is pretty cool. Their family tree is pretty cool. And yeah, it's just a special deal. She just happens to be one of the pieces in the puzzle. And her teammates have helped her win, and she knows that. And she's also helped her teammates win by giving them a chance, to score first, by keeping the other team at 0 as long as possible. So it's been a pretty good mix of talent. But to your point, Eric, when the microphone gets in front of her, as it has on other people on our team, and you can see that, they're all about the team. They're all about the community. They're all about their school. They're very loyal people. And you can't say that about everybody in society. These people are tremendously loyal to their program. And it is their program. I just happen to be and have a really good seat in the third base box to watch it all happen.
No question. She'll be a future Hall of Famer there at that school there. I want to ask you about Alexis Johns. What makes her so good there and sets the tone for your offense?
She has no fear. She has no fear whatsoever. She has no fear at the plate. She has no fear in the field. She has no fear in the base paths. A very, very confident young person. Loves to play with the team she's with right now. I think, this is her first full year with us. Last year, she only was with us in the spring, and now she's starting to get that comfortable feeling of a positive environment. I don't really put the reins on her at all. I don't at all, in respect of whether you want to bunt, slap, or hit away. I want you to be creative within the system and understand the situation, let your eyes tell you what to do. And she's embraced that. And I think that's a real comfortable part for her. She's a very independent young person, but she really, really has, she's endeared herself to her team. But her team right now is completely supportive. And obviously, she's an offensive threat, whether it's leading off an inning, whether it's walking and stealing a base or stealing another base, or driving in a winning run. I think she's got like 2 or 3 walk-offs this year, maybe 1 or 2 last year. She's got ice water in her veins, and she's a special player. There's no question.
And then my last question, I want you to talk about the league, a top six once again in the sport. You guys wins over Michigan. You got wins over Ohio State. You've got wins over Oklahoma State. Wichita State's beating teams. They got explosive offense. UCF's trying to put themselves in a position to host Houston's beaten Washington among other teams. Speaking of the strength of this league, because we've talked about this in the past about maybe not getting the credit that it deserves. It's a strong league, and that's going to be on the showcase this weekend again.
Yeah, no, you know what is really important, and don't forget we beat Notre Dame too, right?
Yeah.
And they're a pretty good team. So well, here's the issue that we have being a non-Power 5 titled team. Okay, when you have a pitcher like Corrick, right, and you try to schedule Power 5 teams, they don't want to play you. Okay, they don't want to play it because they don't want a loss in on their record from somebody that's not titled as a Power 5 program, right? So it's tough to schedule. So we have a very good tournament at the beginning of the year with Michigan and Florida that are in there annually, you know, every single year. And then we go to the ESPN tournament and you know you're going to get great competition, right? But then you try to schedule high RPI team and nobody wants to play it. So you have to wait to get to the conference. Now, I can tell you this, that this is crazy already. You know, George, everybody knows George is graduating. I have everybody in the world wants to play us next year. Okay, so when the committee takes a look at that out of strength, you know, schedule, they need to take a look at who we were actually going against and what we do. Okay, and so, you know, that's a problem sometimes for our league. However, Wichita State's in a really good area where they got Oklahoma State a few times. You know, they can play them, they can get to Oklahoma, and some of our other teams, they just can't get that schedule. And thank goodness that UCF's budget went up, so they were able to go out to tournaments in California and play some high competition and go to Clearwater and do that type of deal. But, you know, it's amazing. It really is amazing that college coaches don't want to go against the best people in the country to make themselves better. They're all worried about putting W's on the board. And we're just trying to get better every game against the competition we play. So we are prepared for the postseason.
I'm shocked you've gotten so many requests for next year. That's a stunner.
Don't worry. We have a bunch of secret weapons. We're going to be in the circle next year. And the nice part is that we have Georgina's going to be back next year, back in helping our program, okay, as a graduate assistant. So to be able to continue passing on that knowledge, you know, and the nuances of what she does to the young pitching staff that we have is invaluable. You know, and I was very emotional when she came in the office and told me she wanted to stick around. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. She's going to get to help you out. I know we've talked about her being a coach, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and she'll continue to train, and you know, there's a great opportunity for the Olympics to come back in 2028 in LA, and you know, she almost single-handedly, with a little bit of help, almost got Great Britain to the Olympics in 2021, and I'm kind of, I don't want to say this tongue in cheek, it was kind of bittersweet, you know, that to say that I'm glad she didn't, because she kind of stuck it up our butt during the summertime with Team USA. So, but she's got a great future ahead of her. And as long as she stays in the game, she'll be better and better and better.
And she's playing for Athletes Unlimited. She got drafted by them.
No, she's got a lot of opportunities this summer.
Okay.
You know, the world obviously is coming after her. So she's got choices to make, but she's very loyal to her Great Britain team. And, you know, they're going to be playing in the Europeans this summer. So, you know, whatever falls her way, she's got great opportunities and more opportunities than a lot of other people.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Anyone else?